Buckle up, boys and girls. We are T minus 12 minutes. Yes, countdown has commenced to another massive NASA announcement. Hey, hey, hey. Now listen. I have lived through many of these announcements before. So don't let me go raising your hopes that we're about to get that aha moment, some kind of answer to all of the biggest questions in the universe. But I thought, why not do this live? I didn't even appreciate that we had anything coming along from NASA today until late last night. And when I found out they had a big announcement to make, I thought, you know, the people of KBS, they would definitely be interested in this kind of thing, right? And give me 2 secs, folks. We'll just pull up this here. And there's going to be a big announcement today. 4 o'clock my time. That's T minus 11 minutes. I should really put T minus 11 minutes. Yes, you see, we've even got the sound effects and everything here. NASA, people in the chat room already. And our good friend Nano Girl, never a straight answer. Exactly. Like I say, I have got many's a t-shirt. I am a survivor of many NASA hyped up announcements before. I've been sat here before, folks. Never before have you been sat here watching me on the edge of my chair getting ready for their next big announcement. But today it feels a little bit different, and it is 2020. Never forget, it is 2020. So if you had anything moon related on your 2020 bingo card, you may just be in for a big win today. But we've got theories ranging from the quite mundane abundant water on the moon all the way out to it being the Death Star, and somewhere in between that we've got talk of it potentially being some alien artifact that's lying in the bottom of a crater. Where the truth lies, well, you're gonna have to hang with me to find out more. And like I say, we're only 9 minutes away from the announcement. We have got NASA TV playing over here, so we are gonna shrink that down in size. We're going to add my quirky little commentary to it, along with a load of
"Come on, man. Excuse me, it's ma'am."
and all that kind of stuff going on. So it's all happening right here on KBS today. So before we get going, let me get the chat room fixed. Let me get Anne fixed as well, and then we're all good to go, folks. We are good to go. Almost knocked over my coffee. That would not have been a good start to our NASA day. But what do you all think it's going to be out there before we even get near the announcement? I want to play the game. Let's play the game, folks. What do you think is going to be happening? So I'm going to type that. What do you think the announcement is? There we go. We'll put that on. Give you a couple of minutes to get into that. We're going to take a look at some of the stuff they've got here. Look at this for a headline, right? You ready? NASA's bizarre moon crater discovery exposed an unknown 58-foot wide object inside. An object inside a crater. Yep, exactly. We've got this over here. NASA moon announcement live. Down here we've got like an official timeline. For anyone interested, NASA has also announced it'll be holding an AMA and Ask Me Anything on Reddit about its findings tomorrow. 1 hour ago, NASA's official Twitter account for Moon News has shared an image of Casey Honnibal aboard Sophia. It appears Dr. Honnibal may take centre stage for this announcement. Further confirmation that it's about the discovery of water? Could be. Now, it could be. Anne says it might be a transformer. Might be a transformer. Little Glob thinks they might have found Elvis. Good shout. 2020. The Leviathan spaceship, Cheryl. Yes, indeedy. No, it's not going to be that, Oms. You know, there's a lot of talk on the internet right now about the moon doing cartwheels and doing silly things. And I urge you all, if you think that, go and watch Dazza the cameraman. Dazza the cameraman is a very astute amateur astronomer down in New Zealand, and he definitely keeps me right when it comes to all of the latest moon news, moon woo that we get here on YouTube. I'm trying to think of the best way to put it, but it could be. Ohms In fact, it's 2020. It might just be that. They might even tell us it's made of cheese. I do not know. Over here, we've got what time and how to watch it, blah de blah. And then we go back to this one here. NASA moon announcement, how to watch it again. There's people over on Twitter. They're talking about how it could be even the Death Star's been spoken of over there. Wonder what the hashtag for it'll be. NASA moon. Let's see. There we go. See, the first one there. People in September 20 can't get worse. People in October, the moon looks weird. There you go. There you go. There you have it. There you have it. So listen, we're 6 minutes out. We've got Daza is. Yeah, Daza's cool. I like Daza here. I've had Daza on the main show. Oh, happily bye-bye. Happily bye-bye. Happily. Just to make sure. There you go. Mods. Might need to sharpen the old wrenches today. It could be one of those ones. It could be one of those days. It just could be. When you talk about a topic like this, it might trigger people. It might. And you know me, I'm a firm believer of questioning everything, but not to the point where you let your brain fall out in the process. So with that said, I don't know what's going to happen today, okay? I don't know what it's going to be. I tell you, I suspect it's going to be something to do with water. We're moving rapidly into this new, vastly technological advanced age. I've put that totally, I've butchered how to say that. But we're moving towards the sci-fi age. We've got the Space Force now. We've got NASA going back to the moon in 2024 with the Artemis mission. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if it's going to be something to do with the water. And if there's anything in predictive programming, and again, speculation here, but just finished watching a TV show called Red Moon. And it's a fictional take on what would have happened if the Russians got to the moon first and landed man on it. So we didn't have that giant leap, all that shenanigans. It was Russians that went up there, right? But in that, a major part of the story is the fact that in one of the craters, and there's a crater being talked about today, remember? In one of these craters, there's a lava tube. And in that lava tube, there's enough water for both the Americans and the Russians to get excited about. And that forms a really central part of that show's moon base storyline. And we know that they're desperate to create moon bases. We know that, the Chinese, we've had Israeli missions up there, we've got the Indian space program. Everyone, even private citizens, Elon Musk, people are heading outwards. We're starting to become that space-faring civilization. Now, I'd love to say we'd see it in my time when we're out there in the asteroid belt and mining and going beyond, and you know, our current set of physics gets torn up and we start to play with warp drives and jump in distances that me and you can't even imagine in our own brains, right? I'd love to see that in my time. Don't think it's going to be quite that quick. I don't think we're going to see such an elevated kind of explosion in the technology. And I keep looking down because I keep getting alerts. Don't know what that's coming through there. It's nothing to do with the moon. It's not what we're waiting for here. And like I say, we've got the moon over here. This is NASA TV. We will be cutting to that live when we get there. Before we get there, chat room again. We've got Jason kicking about the chat room. Could be Jason, could be. You never know. Maybe more ice in the bottom half of the craters or at the poles. Sean Stradamus with a good shout there. I've seen one article talking about the South Pole, I believe. I may be wrong, but they were talking about potentially that having a lot of water. 2020 has been mental, that's for sure, says Vagabond. And my space cake is in there, space cake. We've been waiting for you. We thought you'd be able to tell us by now. We did. So let me click off that just now. If we're going to get copyright struck for it, we might as well wait until it's the main thing, right? But this headline here, good way to kill. Ready? You ready? T minus 2 minutes till announcement. T minus 2 minutes. So then, there you go, right? Did they announce yet? No perk. You're good. You're in time. Obviously, you can head on over to the NASA TV stream and get their uninterrupted coverage here. But I just thought it'd be fun. We'll kind of watch what they're saying. It'll probably take them 5 to 25 minutes to introduce everyone. But it says NASA's bizarre moon crater exposed, discovery exposed, an unknown 58-foot wide object inside. So it says NASA made a bizarre discovery inside a crater on the moon, which left experts stumped after it appeared there was an object hiding in it. So is it the monolith? Is it something like that? And it's that there, a 58-foot wide object, appeared to be inside the crater. Well, I can boil this story down for you. It's not quite as exciting as I thought it was initially. But one of the Apollo missions crashed something into the surface of the moon at one point. And they think, one theory is they think they've located that. Now, I would think if it was something like that, I don't think there would be such excitement surrounding this announcement. But as you can see, I think we're getting ready here for whatever is about to commence. I'll turn down the music. Let's cut the music. Cut the music. There we go. Here we go. Let's see what they're saying then, folks. Okay, we can turn that down. Did you know Kennedy's Launch Control Center has 4 firing rooms? Get on to it already. This is what happens every time you do one of these NASA kind of watch-alongs. Something like this. We'll pull that down off the screen just now. I'll pull it back when it gets to something totally relevant. I don't think the announcement is about any of the firing holes at Kennedy Space Center. Might be. You never know. Oh, we're getting ready. Can you feel the anticipation? Can you? Well, look, they're trying to mind control us. Look, they've got the triangle up. Already we can't trust it. I'm only joking, folks. I'm only joking. And I'm not going to be a total pest when they start talking. Alright? Okay, I'm going full Death Star mode. Let's go Death Star early.
This is The Big Picture, an official television report of the United States Army, produced for the armed forces and the American people. Now, to show you part of the big picture, here is Master Sergeant Stuart Quaid.
At 10:48 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on January 31st, 1958, the attention of the American people was focused on Cape Canaveral, Florida, as a giant rocket was catapulted toward outer space. Few events in American history have been so awaited, prayed for,
okay,
worked for,
what are we getting here?
as the Army's successful launching of Explorer 1. Today's big picture will reveal the dramatic, suspenseful story of how the Army, when the prestige of the United States throughout the world had been shaken by events beyond its control, stirred the hearts and emotions of the American people with an epic display of scientific and technical teamwork. Our story starts 84 days before the launching of Explorer 1. The date, the morning of November 8th,
Okay,
1957.
so Explorer 1 is what we're talking about here.
Has been called by General John B. Medeiros, Commanding General of the Army Ballistic Missile Agency.
Good morning, gentlemen. Be seated, please.
Holmes says this looks like old news.
Important announcement
Absolutely.
We've been assigned the mission of launching a scientific Earth satellite. And we will use the Jupiter C configuration as a carrier that we developed along with the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. I promised the Secretary of the Army that we would be ready in 90 days or less.
Jack
Let's go,
Parsons,
Werner.
JPL, Jack Parsons Lab.
This is what
Just
they've
saying.
been waiting for. The deadline is 90 days. 90 days to put a satellite into
Ms.
orbit.
Space
A
Cake,
program, an emergency.
welcome to the family.
American people had become aware of that emergency long before, when a Soviet Sputnik beeped its way across the skies.
Alright, I now have no idea what we're going to be getting told today. Are they going to tell us that, like, maybe the whole moon thing's just a joke? I don't know.
The potential enemy was at least temporarily ahead in developing means for space travel. Reaction, counter-reaction. All at once, Americans were interested in the oncoming age of space. And with the curiosity came a mounting, swelling demand.
Do you think they might be setting up the fact that we're on the cusp of like a new space race, space age? I don't know.
An immensely difficult job. And the first American attempt with a Vanguard rocket was a failure. And that was the background for the assignment to the Army Ballistic Missile Agency on November 8, 1957. Put a satellite into orbit within 90 days. There was no sense of panic, as the capability for doing the job had been ABMA's since 1954. ABMA was a crack team headed by old pros of the missile field. Dr. Werner von Braun, director of the Development Operations Division, supervised over 3,000 scientists, engineers, and technicians.
And the last card, according to him.
Group elsewhere. Long before a countdown starts at a launching pad, precise miniature replicas of the individual sections are made.
Vagabond, I'm with you. The anticipation is mounting.
The model work comes after a countless number of hours at the drafting tables. Each new experiment, each test means more knowledge, which may mean a change of design. There are often no precedents. It is creative work by creative men and women, absorbed in the fascinating problems of space flight. And it would be difficult to find a science which does not have something to contribute. Even as the research and design work, along with the incessant testing, goes on, the missiles...
Folks, I want to keep it smallish. I don't think it'll help us with a copyright claim, but it might if, like, we're definitely transforming it with all of our snazzy space graphics and me and my hands and all the rest of it, you know?
But every day presents an obstacle course of unique problems. Even the welding, for example, involves special techniques needed to satisfy the very specific requirements of a missile. Now, added to the already numerous complications...
Now, while they're talking about that, look, like I say, you can watch the full uninterrupted stream over at NASA TV right here on YouTube. Absolutely, head on over there if you want to. I know I'm going to be annoying, but there's always a lot of fluff and a lot of pomp and ceremony around these things, and usually it's like a damp squib. This is usually the best bit. I always say that the NASA announcements, the best bit of them are the build-up, because usually it's such an anticlimax. It really, really is, you know? But what a perfect night to have Ben Emlyn Jones on the show today. Big Ben is going to be with us live. He's like the perfect guest to have on a day when NASA are announcing anything, right? These were simpler times, ladies and gentlemen, that we're looking at here. Cherish these moments. Look at them. The world was a simpler place back then, look. Look at the smiles. Look at the smiles on people's face. Look, clouds.
At Huntsville, Alabama, the steady success of the Redstone firings confirmed the feeling they were going to be the ones to put up a satellite.
Hey, look at that. Look at that. Now, I need to give that man a spanner. Ben Emlyn Jones, Ben the junior reporter, or junior porter, sorry, is in the chat room.
Part of the rocket's exhaust. No guesswork. ABMA people have to know. The rocket's exhaust will be too much for the alloy. It melts.
I'm telling you, they're going to have found something. One of these old missions up there or something. Remember, one of the theories was the crater. We'll leave that playing, listen.
The tests are checked out is the static firing. Held firmly in place, its rocket engines filled with fuel, the assembled missile is studied during full force firing. In the blockhouse sheathed in concrete where the operating controls and personnel are located, the countdown has started. A few seconds before firing, the water is turned on. 4,000 gallons a minute are required to cool the flame deflector of the test stand in this simulated flight. where the missile will stay right where she is. The countdown moves along to the fateful moment.
Look at that thing, man. We literally have like a bajillion more times powerful devices in our pockets nowadays. In fact, there's smart toilets out there that probably rival some of the kind of computing that they had back then, right? Why we need a smart toilet? I get it. I get it if you're maybe on the space station or something, right? You maybe want that kind of thing analyzed. I get it. But really, have you ever like been taking a number 2 and thought, if only I could have this analyzed by my smart toilet right now? How did we get onto smart toilets? I don't know.
Next stop, Cape Canaveral, Florida.
CG, yep, we think that's one of the shouts. A few people have been saying water. I like the Death Star idea, I must admit. I don't think they're going to come out and tell us any of Ike's theories, alright? I would like it, but it's not going to happen.
Same deadline. 90 days to put a satellite into orbit. Their job, furnish the high-speed upper stages to
I tell you what, though, I'm going to turn it down for a moment. Like I say, I've lived through a lot of these, right? They come, they go. A NASA announcement here, NASA announcement there. You're expecting, the way they build up, something huge. But Ben in the chat, all of you out there that have watched something like this before, I can't talk for any of you, obviously, but I can't remember a build-up like this.
and temperature measurements. The data would be dispatched continuously by the 2 transmitters.
Are they giving us like the history of like the entire space program? It feels
All
like
went
it.
well. 7.5 minutes from the time the giant missile bearing it would leave the Earth, the cylinder would be hurtling independently through space at a little over 18,000 miles per hour. If all went well.
What if they found a crashed Hannibal craft up there? Go check it out. Go see what I'm talking about.
The date, Wednesday, 29 January.
Or have I played too much Castle Wolfenstein? Probably.
By General Medeiros. On the morning of the 29th, the weather was not good. The prediction was for thunderstorms and unsatisfactory jet stream conditions aloft. A 24-hour postponement was decided upon.
Oh, nice. Cheryl's coming in with a black goo.
Working swiftly, intensively.
I like it. Buzz is a scientist that studies the content of smart toilets. A crapologist. I love it.
It was not until Friday, January 31st, that the weather cleared sufficiently for General Medeiros to order launch at 10:30 p.m. Men worked on the lines, pipes, and servicing units on the pad. Others clambered about the various gantry levels. As is so often said in the Army, but rarely with more accuracy.
They could have been really, like, decent and said on their Twitter announcement, join us at, like, 5 p.m. UK, like 48 minutes from now after our Monday matinee. Who knew we were getting taken to the movies? Oh, Miss Space Cake. She thinks they found her base. They do.
80 inches in length, is raised toward the top, where it will be carefully fitted into place, like a glittering jewel in a luminous setting. At X-2 hours, hydine, an exotic liquid oxygen oxidizer for the fuel, begins to flow into the tanks. Frosty white vapor hisses from the vents.
Unless that frosty white vapor is in any way, shape, or form related to today's announcement, it's very interesting. I can handle getting the historics later. Come on, they must know that people have an attention span of, like, I don't know, 9 seconds now? NASA.
The drama approaches the final act, the Army's first attempt to fire a man-made moon into orbit. Time.
Right, they just talked about a man-made moon into orbit. Are they going to tell us that now that they've reassessed some of the lacrosse mission from years ago, And now that they've unleashed some crazy machine learning and AI software into looking at the absolutely vast data that we must hold on the moon, you don't think they're about to tell us something really, really out there about the moon, do you? But like, it is 2020.
Late evening, Friday, January 31st, 1958, in a blockhouse at Canaveral. The countdown to Explorer 1.
Okay, we'll start now.
Finish fuel loading. Take a weight reading. Okay, check the utility room fuel vapors and notify the blockhouse when we're clear to start generators.
Roger that. All checked. We're good, NASA.
Generator setting.
Control voltage on.
2.5, program device on.
NASA, this is KBS. We are in rendezvous for the ISS, but we are just wondering when on Earth's name you're going to get on with it. Come on.
Check that launch loading has been completed. Roger.
I'm just waiting for somebody to come back. Roger that. Jolly good show, old boy. NASA. Never a short announcement.
Roger, and install your protective tabs. Okay?
Can you imagine working for these people? My word. It would go slower than a week in the jail, wouldn't it? This is like, whoa.
FCC telemeter calibration tape on.
Roger that,
Start
NASA.
vibration and RPM recorders.
Check. Just get bloody on with it, NASA, please. This is taking so long, we're now in black and white again. What's going on?
Check all operating lights and meters for proper operation. Fire panel check. Fire panel okay. Control panel check. Control panel okay.
Check.
Measuring panel check.
Oh, hold on a minute, Houston.
Roger.
At some point, folks, they're going to blast us into the present day. Hopefully at some point we'll see somebody that is from our generation. Hopefully even just from maybe a prior generation, not an age gone by. This looks like we're watching some kind of 1940s sci-fi kind of stuff going on here, right? Right?
Once they're clear for launch, clear to launch. Yeah. 021, deflection of jet main number 2. We've either got a relay kicking out or there's something dropping down on the jet main.
Roger that. This is KBS at NASA. Over. I hope that wasn't a blue chicken or a Lee Veltman. Bark, bark. Ah, Veltman. This is getting terrible, isn't it?
Forget it. Okay, resume count.
And watch. Their numbers are dropping. At 6,000 on a channel that has 7.5 million subscribers. 7.5 million subscribers, and they can barely muster not even 0.1%, and it's dwindling rapidly. I think we may be the last people on this stream. They may just be seen who's really hardcore out there, who's willing to sit through the edited scenes from Lost in Space or something like that. This is like the bit of Star Trek that nobody wanted to see, right? I mean, that cat's got a really dashing haircut and things like that, but does he play a part today? Or, NASA, you best not be LARPing. Lee Veltman, little did I know it, brother. I think we need to call out NASA.
Block tank pressurized, missile power. Ignition, mainstay. Lift off.
Come on, man.
Exactly. Even Joe's getting a bit kind of, a bit twitchy here. And I swear to you folks, this is their big announcement. It's starting at 4 o'clock today. I haven't dragged you in here. I haven't dragged you in here to just share along some NASA cut reel about nothing. That megaphone, that speaker there, that's going to be famous by the end of this broadcast. And now we're watching a really crappy teleprinter thing.
The missile is in flight, but the success of its mission is still in doubt.
Unless we've found one of these cats on the moon. Relevance, please.
The most intense and harrowing weight of all. Minitrack stations, operated throughout the world by the Army, Air Force, and Navy, followed the movements of the Army.
Look at the numbers dropping. Look at the numbers dropping, folks.
Radio system received signals.
That's like, it was at 6,000 when we started having a laugh about it a minute ago, and now it's down to 5,428. And dropping rapidly. Let's check their Twitter feed. See what they're saying. NASA Moon. NASA, where are you, NASA? There's the press release. Is that it? Is that it? Wasn't this already known a few years ago? Yeah? So, this is another thing. This is the unexplained files, folks. That's not what we're talking about. That's not today's announcement. Right, we need to get to NASA. We confirmed, right, live. NASA live. Oh, don't tell me we've been watching the wrong thing, folks. Hang on. We might have been watching the wrong thing. Hold on.
The Earth, but it's not that big. When we look.
No, we haven't missed much here.
Good morning, and thank you for standing by. I'd like to inform all
will be limited to 1 hour. Today's panelists are
distributed across the lunar surface and not limited to the cold, shadowed places near the lunar pole.
Okay.
Silicon Valley, the headquarters. Casey Hannibal, postdoctoral.
Okay, right, okay. We're going to watch it now, right? Don't worry. All of that will just be confined to the memory bin. We'll be able... It's good comedy, right? There's people clipping that already going, look at this maniac. Look at this maniac watching the wrong damn thing. I've got you back. See, just while I checked, right? We're only 21 minutes late.
Houston, we have a problem.
You see, we've corrected now. We've corrected. Are you ready? We're going to hear it now. Okay, I'll shut up.
Fellow at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center in Greenbelt, Maryland. Nassim Rangwala, project scientist for the Sophia mission, and NASA Ames Research Center, Silicon Valley, California. We also have a special guest today, Sarah Noble, lunar scientist at NASA headquarters. And with that, let's get started. Paul?
Thank you, Felicia. It's great to be making this announcement today. Several studies have showed that water on the moon's surface is in its permanently shadowed craters. Today, we are announcing that for the first time, water has been confirmed to be present on a sunlit surface of the moon.
Whoa, so they found water on a sunlit surface on the moon? Yeah, I'm just cracking on as if nothing happened for the past 20 minutes. Deal with it. Hey, it's all good. I told you, we roll different here on the number one abnormal, paranormal, usually wrong show in the world.
This is exciting because the expectation is that any water present on a sunlit surface of the moon would not survive the lunar day. This discovery reveals that water might be distributed across the lunar surface and not limited to the cold, shadowed places near the lunar poles, where we have previously discovered water ice. The discovery was made with SOFIA, NASA's airborne observatory, which flies a 100-inch or 2.5-meter telescope high in the Earth's atmosphere to study the universe in the far infrared part of the electromagnetic spectrum. The water molecule consists of 2 atoms of hydrogen and 1 atom of oxygen. Sometimes water is called H2O. Previous observations detected hydrogen through hydration on the lunar surface. SOFIA's infrared spectrometer was able to identify the chemical fingerprint unique to the water molecule, showing that the previously detected hydrogen is in a water molecule and not in some other kind of hydrogen-containing molecule. This discovery raises new questions about how water is created and how it can persist in the harsh, airless conditions of the sunlit lunar surface.
Okay, right. Like I said, I actually think my build up to the non-announcement, I actually think I'm going to leave it in there. Because let's face it, not being narcissistic or egotistic or like, you know that, but I think my build up to that, even though it was all wrong and we were watching the wrong thing, I still think it was better than this full announcement, right? Yeah, yeah. Ben, you're right. Ben, you were right. You were absolutely right. It's what can I say? What can I say, folks? We'll listen to a bit more of this.
This discovery, of course, is of more than just scientific interest to NASA. With the Artemis program, NASA will land the first woman and the next man on the moon in 2024 and establish a sustainable human presence by the end of the decade. At the moon, we will prepare for human exploration of Mars. Water is a precious resource in space, but we want to know everything we can about water on the moon. One of the things we don't know yet is whether the water detected by SOFIA on a sunlit surface is accessible for use as a resource. With that introduction, I'm now going...
Now, listen, Spartan Spirit. Oh, we know we're watching the wrong thing. We're now playing catch up. That's my fault. That's my bad. But if you'd been here for the insanity that I just took you through, I don't know. It was pretty fun.
Casey Hannibal, who is the lead author of the paper published today reporting this discovery. Casey?
Thank you, Paul. So prior to this discovery, for about a decade, we knew that there was some form of hydrogen on the sunlit surface of the moon based on previous spectroscopic observations.
She talks fast enough anyway, right?
Spacecraft studied the moon in the infrared at wavelengths of 3 microns and could not differentiate between the water molecules and their close cousin, hydroxyl. Hydroxyl is actually the active ingredient in drain cleaners. Hypothetically, if drain cleaner were on the moon, we could not tell the difference between the drain cleaner and water using the 3 micron wavelength.
Oh, don't tell Jordan Sather they found Drano on the moon. The mind boggles.
However, if we study the lunar surface at a wavelength of 6 microns with SOFIA, the water molecule has a distinct chemical fingerprint that hydroxyl does not have. The 6 micron fingerprint requires the bond between 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom that only exists in the water molecule H2O. SOFIA's unique position above most of the water in the Earth's atmosphere allowed us to look for the 6 micron fingerprint on the sunlit moon. This observation...
Does anyone think there's any point in listening to more of this, or will we just go and look for the articles that are now already in circulation? I think we can probably go and look at some of the articles, right? Probably. Okay, so let's see. I can feel Anne laughing in the background. I can feel the audience laughing as well. Here we go. We'll just play this. Look, a minute of it. There we go. We should have just waited for this to come out, shouldn't we? Oh, you can see it. Look, you can see it. I can do a better job than After Effects than that. Come on, NASA. Yes, very good. Very good. So basically, nothing really new to speak of, folks. The one thing I would say to add my own little spin to what we're being told here is if there's water on the moon, and that's like the closest like thing to us, we've recently had signs of life on Was it Mercury or Venus? I think it was Mercury, wasn't it? Venus. No, it was Venus. Yeah, we had signs of life on Venus. We had phosphine in the atmosphere, in the Venusian atmosphere. We've got Mars. We've got water there. They're probably going to start finding microbes and things there. Wouldn't surprise me. Point being, look how all of the separate building blocks that are required for life, not only as we know it, but perhaps in many other ways, shapes, or forms. If we can find all these things like in close proximity to us, and it doesn't matter how vast the universe is, because none of us can imagine a distance like that anyway. I'm barely imagining the distance between here and Inverness. So don't start me on light years and billions, and don't go there. But you see where I'm going? It could be that there's a whole lot more potential for life as we do and don't know it all around us. Now, why isn't it in communication with us? I don't know. I was listening to a really interesting interview yesterday with George Holtz. I think the guy's name is. He's the guy that a few years ago done the TED Talk, Hacking the Simulation. And he was on with Lex Friedman, and they were talking about aliens. They were talking about advanced civilizations, and he tends to think that when you reach a certain level of technology, 9 times out of 10, that civilization ain't going to last much longer, because you end up, the technology destroys everything. Not always the case, but that's his explanation for some of the reason, or one of the reasons maybe, perhaps, we don't see abundant life. There's the distances involved. I don't know, folks. I don't know. Will we ever get anything like that from NASA, even if they knew it? With red tape, classifications, security issues, all the rest of it, we would never be the ones to know. And I would love to think that there are people that can escape from underground bases and secret space programs and come along and tell us all of the stuff that we suspect that they might have, almost playing into our confirmation bias. But let's be honest, folks, we live in the real world. And when I take you to Speculation Island, I'll tell you I'm taking you there. And my speculation's pretty cool and it's pretty infotaining, but that's all it is. And you have to really be able to be using your discernment when you're looking at any of the information about space out there, because it's a wide spectrum. It goes from here to there, up, down, back again, other dimensions, many worlds, and then turn it all on its head again. So Anne's sitting there gloating. She's sitting there saying she's got a big head. I'm just glad that I can waffle on and people will forget that we watched
21 minutes in the wrong orbit, Houston. 21 minutes. We're never getting back, Houston.
I hear you all saying that. I hear you all. It's even picking it up on my Newman probe that I've sent out there, out into the universe. No, exactly, Ms. Space Cake. Not even mind. It done nothing to the mind. They told us nothing that we don't really know. They will tell us what they want to they will tell us what they want to out the fear of God into the masses. Yes, put fear of God into the masses. Exactly, Billy. Sorry, that was me. My reading is atrocious. It truly, truly is. And we can go back to NASA. We can have a look at, let's see when they get into some of the graphics.
6.1 microns, as you heard from Casey. In fact, observatory in a way not previously imagined. So in August of 2018, we decided to try a test observation on the moon. This discovery was made while we were flying over Nevada on our way back to our home base in Palmdale, California. What was essentially a test far exceeded our expectations. Now that we know we can do this, and given the importance of understanding the distribution of water on the moon and the origin of water in our solar system, we are planning more flights with Sophia to collect more data. We are very excited that these follow-up observations will look for water in more sunlit locations to better understand how water is created, stored, and moves across the lunar surface over time. These observations will add to the data that NASA's next moon...
Now, Ben, to be fair, I think I gave it more of a build-up than NASA ever did. It turns out that obviously I was watching the wrong channel at NASA TV, but I tell you, for some accidental comedy, and you should never laugh at your own jokes, I think that might actually be worth leaving in the clip. Because when you add that to the non-announcement, maybe that'll be the most infotaining part for people. Maybe that's the part that we should take away today. The fact that we did get a laugh. We did have me broadcasting from the future to the past in a movie reel that was playing on not the NASA TV feed that we needed to see, unfortunately. But with that said, I feel really embarrassed again, so we're going to play another couple of minutes of it, and I'm going to hide.
Will collect to create.
Will I shut up? John, what's up with you, man?
Back to you, Paul.
You can't tell the streamer on their own stream to shut up, dude. That's just not good etiquette. No, even if you're having a bad day now. Come on, John. What? No, now, come on. Come on now.
Thanks, Nassim. NASA's space observatories allow us to study the universe in ways that are impossible from the ground. And although Sophia is not a space observatory, it's an airborne observatory, it does allow us a view of the universe in the far infrared that is impossible from the ground because the water vapor in the Earth's atmosphere blocks this part of the electromagnetic spectrum. Today, we are announcing an important discovery by Sophia, that the previously detected hydrogen on the sunlit surface of the moon is located in water molecules. This discovery raises new questions about how water is created on the surface of the moon and how it can persist in the harsh, airless, sunlit conditions of the lunar surface. Knowing how much water is on the moon and how we might be able to use it in the future supports NASA's long-term human exploration goals into deep space. NASA will continue to leverage...
Let me pause it there, because, John, you make a good point, you know. I was having a laugh when you did. But John says, I'm so against going off planet after how we act on here. I really am... there's two ways of looking at that, isn't there? Because you could say, well, unfortunately, we're never going to change the way the world works. People have been trying forever. War, disease, famine, all of these things, we have polluted the planet terribly. So, yes, I see a case for us almost being quarantined like the Van Allen radiation belt keeping us in here. Bloody hell, we can't be trusted to look after our own planet, so how can we be trusted elsewhere? But then there's a flip side to that, right? Because not everyone who is on this planet agrees with the way it's been run, agrees with the way it's been handled. And it's always been the few at the top and the very many at the bottom. And hey, maybe we need to start our own thing. We always talk about playing the game and seeing the system's rigged, and, it's all weighted towards the few, not the many. Well, like I say, it feels, or it might be that we've always been trying to do that, but there's never been any alternative. We've been stuck here with them, right? Maybe someday, not too far into the future, I would like to think that, hopefully, maybe people get the option to say, well, you know what, I'm done with this down here. Like people moved to America. Look at what had happened in the other parts of the world and things like that. Wasn't exactly a shining example before all of the people headed to America. All that diversity, everything else that makes America America. And of course, there's bad operators and the people that move to these places, but a heck of a lot of great people as well, right? That's what makes America great. What if we did go to another planet? At least this time, there wouldn't be the Native Americans when all these people turned up. We wouldn't be taking it off some other life form. Maybe it would just be barren, totally virgin planet. Who owns that planet? We're moving into an age where space politics. You hear about exopolitics being spoken a lot in ufology circles, things like this. But I mean, is there a framework for what happens if you come across something like that? I remember the dude that used to sell you a plot on the moon. Remember that? You could own like a plot of land on the moon. I mean, what happens when people start going to Mars? How do you claim your territory? And who do you claim it from? The Martian. Oh, wait a minute. So yeah, absolutely. Part of me thinks we can't go. We shouldn't go because of what John says. Bad stewards hardly, treated this place right. So we would do the same again. You don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. But at the same time, I'd like to be optimistic and think that there are people that want to turn their back on this and get the heck off of here. 2020, I'm pretty sure a lot of people would be checking out and getting onto the first space flight out of here right now. In fact, I think you probably would have found that it got pretty empty a few months ago. Yeah, and emptier, just a continuous flow of people off planet. Debunk, deboss, go somewhere else, because this place has gone bat crap crazy. You don't believe me? I could show you a story about the murder hornets. They're back again. But we're here to talk about NASA. We're talking about space. John, I'm going to go back to John. We don't put money in technology that makes humans better. And no, Kev, I'd never tell you to shut up. No, that's cool, dude. I get it, dude. And he says, what else did he say down here? Must be why they're trying to genetically modify, or off-planet, or to live on this changing one. A good point. Absolutely good point. So we'll take another little listen to what's going on here in the big NASA announcement that I totally messed up today. But I think of how boring it would have been if we just cut to this really dry call.
All of its assets, including SOFIA, the world's premier airborne observatory, to contribute to the success of the Artemis mission and NASA's human exploration programs. Alicia?
Thanks, Paul. Media resources for this announcement is available on nasa.gov/SOFIA and can also be found on our press release. We will now start the question and answer session. Sarah Noble.
You see, already, that was it. I think you had the grand total of about, you had music back here, didn't you?
NASA headquarters in Washington. Jacob.
About 10 minutes of announcement to tell us something that I think pretty much everyone already knew. In fact, that's why so few people put it as one of their choices for the announcement. We already know about water. Can't be that, right? And the Express, again, I'd love to know where they came up with this. Probably on one of their more bizarre YouTube channels they follow. I know I'm a bizarre YouTube channel, and I'm just butthurt that they don't follow me and propel my channel into the stratosphere that a linked video on this page would do. Imagine the subs we would get that day, folks. But this is there's no point even getting into this, right? Let's see what the latest on it is. There we go. We'll go to that's the link that Ben gave us earlier on. You see, if they had sent back a picture and said we've seen people out working on the surface on the moon, doesn't that look more realistic than Neil and Buzz back in the day? I'm just joking. Come on, man.
How dare you?
I know. I've never questioned the authoritative source that NASA is. Having dropped tantalizing hints days ago about an exciting new discovery about the moon, the US Space Agency has revealed conclusive evidence that really they know how to make a lot about nothing. No, evidence of water on our only natural satellite. This unambiguous detection of molecular water will boost NASA's hopes of establishing a lunar base. Now, have any of you watched? I know Nano's listening right now and watching, but Red Moon TV. Have any of you watched this TV show, Red Moon? Well, For All Mankind. One of the episodes called Red Moon. That's where I'm getting that from. But For All Mankind is an American science fiction streaming television series created and written by Ronald D. Moore, Matt Walpert, and Ben Nedivy, and produced for Apple TV. Now, the series dramatizes an alternate history, depicting what would have happened if the global space race had never ended after the Soviet Union succeeds in the first crewed moon landing ahead of the United States. And it's got the Russian cosmonaut stepping out and talking about how he does this for mankind, and he does it for all people and for Marxism. That's what it starts talking about. And it's a really, really good storyline. But in that, the major discovery is water. Water in a lava tube. Art mimicking life, because that's in a crater as well. They have to go down into this crater to access it. In fact, it's a sun facing part as well. There's like, it's not as if it's constantly in the shade or anything, because you see it on the show and there's a big arm coming in behind me. It's not a ghost, it's Anne. But this TV show here, if you're into space, if you're into fiction, bit of sci-fi, definitely worth watching. One of the episodes, I hope it's got, there it is. The first episode's called Red Moon. That's why I thought it was called Red Moon. Go figure. Go figure. As you can tell from today's stream, I'm not exactly the sharpest tool in the box. But at least we can laugh at it, right? At least we can laugh at it. So back here, it says, the aim is to sustain a base by tapping into the moon's natural resources. Well, think about it. You get that up there, you've got water, and you've got the water source. You don't need to be taking that up with you. That cuts down on the weight right away. You've also got hydrogen and oxygen. So you've got components there that you can use for multiple different things. It really opens up the potential for us. It's a no-brainer that we should be launching missions from space. You get rid of all of that trying to escape the atmosphere and getting propelled off the planet at 1,000 kilometers an hour because of the spin of the planet, and then having to aim it at the right trajectory. And it's like strapping yourself to a Roman candle and firing yourself up into space. That's what the equivalent of it is. You know, you look at the advancements in everything else apart from these space rockets and spacecraft. Or have they made those advancements? That's why me and Ben always have great fun talking about these subjects. And tonight will be no different. It says, unlike previous detections of water in permanently shadowed parts of lunar craters, scientists have now detected the molecule in sunlit regions of the moon's surface. So speaking during a virtual teleconference, co-author Casey Honibal, postdoctoral fellow at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center in Maryland, said, the amount of water is roughly equivalent to a 12-ounce bottle of water in a cubic meter of lunar soil. That's pretty significant when you're talking about somewhere where once imagined there was little water. Our NASA colleague Jacob Bleacher from the agency's Human Exploration Directorate said researchers still needed to understand the nature of the water deposits. This would help them determine how accessible they would be for future lunar explorers to use. And while there have previously been signs of water on the lunar surface, these new discoveries suggest far more abundant than previously thought. It gives us more options for potential water sources on the moon, said Hannah Sargent, a planetary scientist from the Open University in Milton Keynes. So yeah, that's it. That's about it, folks. Where to put a base or a moon base is largely focused on where the water is. And of course, we've just had the OSIRIS-REx mission. We had that a couple of days ago. Asteroid pieces escaping from jammed NASA spacecraft. Okay, so we've got problems with this now. Rocks got wedged into or in edge of the lip or sample container on OSIRIS-REx, jamming it open. Now that could be a problem. Could be a problem because they do plan to return those samples to Earth at some point. So if you can't shut the lid, and I know I ain't no NASA rocket scientist, okay? But it does suggest to me that could be a problem. Just saying. So scientists announced the news, and I can tell you right now, folks, I can tell you right now, there's an absolutely hilarious numerology shout out, tip of the hat to come in a minute, right? It says scientists announced the news 3 days after the spacecraft named OSIRIS-REx briefly touched down on asteroid Bennu, NASA's first attempt at such a mission. Now, you ready for some cool numbers? The mission's lead scientist, Dante Loretta, of the University of Arizona, said Tuesday's operation 322
Come on, man.
million kilometers away collected far more material than expected to return to Earth. In the hundreds of grams, now the sampler or the sample container on the end of the robot arm penetrated so deeply, way beyond the tip, into the asteroid, and with such force, bada bing, bada boom, however, that rocks got sucked in and became wedged around the rim of the lid. Just as well we're talking about space rocks here, gents, that's all I can say, but 322, come on. Come on, man.
Come on, man. Excuse me, it's ma'am.
Listen, that's a very significant number. If you're into a bit of the woo, if you like to skirt around the edges of some really alternative information, shall we say, you know, 322, skull and bones, that kind of thing. Yes, indeedy. There's always a heck of a lot of symbology going on around any NASA mission. I mean, it's not like they name them weirdly, like OSIRIS-REx and Bennu. The Bennu, I don't know. So, anyway, it goes on to say, scientists estimate the sampler pressed as much as 48 centimeters into the rough, crumbly, black terrain. We're almost a victim of our own success here, Loretta said at a hastily arranged news conference. And Loretta said there is nothing flight controllers can do to clear the obstructions and prevent more bits of Bennu from escaping, other than to get the samples into the return capsule as soon as possible. And the flight team was scrambling to put the sample container into the capsule as early as Tuesday, much sooner than originally planned for the long trip home. Time is of the essence, said Thomas Zurbuchen, chief of NASA's science missions. I just got a picture there. Imagine somebody coming, driving along the motorway. They maybe just been on holiday or been to the supermarket, something like that. And for whatever reason, they left the boot open. And all the way they're driving home and they think they're getting there. And only when they get home, nothing left in the boot. There's like a trail. You've left like a snail trail of items all the way where it's been falling out. I don't know why I got that picture in my head, but that's what came to mind. So this is NASA's first asteroid sample return mission. Bennu was chosen because its carbon-rich material is believed to hold the preserved building blocks of our solar system. Getting pieces from the cosmic time capsule could help scientists better understand how the planets formed billions of years ago and how life originated on Earth. Scientists were stunned and then dismayed last Thursday when they saw the pictures coming from OSIRIS-REx following its widely successful touch and go at Bennu 2 days earlier. So, a cloud of asteroid particles could be seen spewing around the aircraft as it backed away from Bennu, and the situation appeared to stabilise, according to Loretta, once the robot arm was locked into place. But it's impossible to know exactly how much had already been lost. So there we go. They left the lid open. They took off and all escaping into that highly electrically excited vacuum that we're told is out there. So the requirement for the more than $800 million US mission was to bring back a minimum of 60 grams. $800 million US dollars. Wow. Regardless of what's on board, OSIRIS-REx will still leave the vicinity of the asteroid in March. That's the earliest possible departure, given the relative locations of Earth and Bennu. And the samples won't come back until 2023, 7 years after the spacecraft rocketed away from Cape Canaveral. My goodness. That means I'll still be doing this in 2023. That's why I kind of said, oh my goodness. I know I'm going to be here for that. Are you all going to still be here with me? I hope so. OSIRIS-REx will be, if we'd watched that entire NASA movie today, we might actually have got done with it just in time for this arriving back. But by the sounds of it, there's nothing to arrive back. So OSIRIS-REx will keep drifting away from Bennu and will not orbit it again as it waits for its scheduled departure.
OSIRIS-REx, this is a Bennu 1 over. You are cleared for departure.
That's how it's going to go. There's somebody on Bennu will tell it. You can go now. I think we're going to have to wait until we get home to know precisely how much we have, Loretta told reporters. As you can imagine, it's hard. But the good news is we see a lot of material. Japan, meanwhile, is awaiting its second batch of samples taken from a different asteroid due back in December. You like that there? That whole story. That whole story explaining how basically somebody at NASA they got things wrong, right? And then at the end they go, yeah, Japan have done it twice and let's not talk about that. Moving on. Moving on. Indeed. So if you're here for a big, massive NASA announcement, I'd love to give you, we almost gave you one, a lot better than the one that NASA gave us, because the big, massive NASA announcement is this. Water on the moon could sustain a lunar base. Now, I'm going to get a little drink of coffee. I'm going to shove on some really inappropriately not spacey type music. We do have some Earth to look at. So I'll be back in a moment or two. We're going to catch up with the chat room. I see Ben is still in there, man. Remember to go and sub to Ben's channel, please. I'll bring that up when we come back after the break. But take a load off, chill out, and I'll be right back. There we go. There we go. I don't know why I've got my hat like that. I've got no idea. I've lost the plot. It's that crazy NASA announcement. I've got my announcement. Yes, the alien says, NASA, come on, man. NASA.
Come on, man.
How dare you?
Excuse me, it's ma'am.
You see, that's the thing with these aliens. They've got a habit of being able to talk in multiple voices. You really just don't know who you're talking to at times. It's a bit like me and Dave, really. Here you have a decent YouTube channel. Far more intellectual content than you'll find anywhere on my channel, apart from when tonight's guest is on, or our good friend Nano Girl, or in fact, any of our shows. But I'm just having a laugh. We have got our good friend Ben, the man behind Hipanwo, the guy that covers everything that makes him a firm, stable favourite of the KBS audience. I think he's been with me as long as the Nano Girl. Damn, dude, you deserve a medal putting up with me, my moods, the constant talking over the top of people. But tonight it's going to be different. And Ben's going to get us into a whole host of topics, including talking about new research on the brain at the point of passing away. We're also going to be talking about 2020's media and UFOs. A top astronomer that talks about aliens existing. And we're also, you see, Ben is so far ahead of the curve that we're going to be talking about water on Mars, because we already accept it's been known about the moon. We're going for Mars tonight. And if you're in the UK, tonight's show will be at the earlier time, folks. It's going to be at the earlier time of 9 p.m. in the UK. We put our clocks back over the weekend, so we've jumped an hour backwards. Because TFR is based in the US, then we shift our clock and the show time accordingly. And it's only for a week or two, depending on when America put their clocks forward. Backwards. When is it? It's going to be the 1st of November, so yeah, it's this weekend. So it's only for a week we're going to be on at the earlier time of 9 p.m, okay? 9 p.m. instead of 10. But if you're in the US, it's still the same old KBS time. 5 p.m. in the East Coast, and that is 2 p.m. on the West Coast. So I'm going to see what people in the chat room are talking about. And probably talking about me being such a doofus, but that's okay. I'll go, my brother. Yes, indeedy. Now I want moon water cheers. Yep. I would a bottle of that. You know, there's probably people going to start selling it, and probably have a little blue chicken logo on the top of it or something. I'm just thinking. Just wait for Volvic or Evan to come up with their Moon and Mars range. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Witches use the moon to charge the water, and that's what moon water is. There you go. So moon water is already a thing. Thanking you, Lewis. Very cool. Kev only needs white gloves and he would look like Super Mario. Awesome. Sid, do you think I should leave up that first part then? Nano thinks I should leave the first part, like the bit of the stream where I got it all wrong. I could cut that off and I could like insert a bit and make it look like nothing ever happened. But actually, I agree with Nano. I think that bit must stay. I think it has to stay. Yeah, I think it does. Yeah. Gonna stay now. Anne's pissing herself laughing. I think she stopped smiling since the moment she realised. You see, the thing is, right? And guys, you'll get this. We do nothing wrong, right? We never get anything wrong. Guys are never wrong. So I obviously couldn't admit to myself, even 10 minutes into listening to like the history of Werner von Braun's sock makers, I couldn't really accept that maybe I'd got it wrong. But yeah, see, it happens. It's Scotty Lopez in the chat room. My word. How you doing, brother? Oh, Scott. This is why I need you around, man. You'd have sorted me out. I'm not even going to tell Scott what I've done wrong. Okay, Scott, I'm going to tell you We sat and watched the wrong NASA stream for 20 minutes. It was like the history of everything to do with space flight from like way back at even before Werner von Braun. And then I thought, maybe we'll just go and check Twitter, see what's happening here. And yep, the news had broke. We'd missed it by 20 minutes, but
Houston, this is KBS. We do have a problem, but I think we've got over it.
Right, I think so. So listen, I've had a blast today, and I'm going to leave it up, folks, because if you can't laugh at yourself, then it gives me no right to come back here and laugh at everyone else the way I do from time to time. If you do like what you see here, and I'd imagine with 46 of you, all of you are subscribed to the channel. But if you want to support the show further, then we have that brilliant join button down beneath, and that means every Sunday you'll get into our members only stream. There's very, very, very cheap, I think it's about $2, all the way up to the unicorn level, but every member gets exactly the same thing. Now, I'm going to be linking Patreon to the YouTube channel. And for the people out there that have stuck with me on Patreon, I cannot thank you enough. I'm just glad I'd never promised, like, to, do a newsletter once a month or do this, do that. And when we set it up, I was very honest and I said, look, it's just to help us out over a rough patch. And from then, it's been there and people have stuck with it and it's amazing. And I can't thank you enough. So I'm trying to think of ways to get more stuff in with the Patreon as well. We've seen the censorship that is ramped up in recent times. Touch wood, the shift that we made earlier on in the year, I'd like to think we're into content now that the channel can maintain itself. And it's from this channel that the KBS experience kind of launches from. Because we've got the Discord, we've got the TFR show, we've got stuff over on Patreon like I was saying there. But this members only, it's so important. Because that way I'm able to sustain all the costs, the Photoshop, the internet bill and everything. And it's only thanks to you out there. And I tell you, you even stick with me when I do like 3/4 of the stream is all wrong. So listen, thank you so much for being here. Thank you all for being you. And I'm going to keep the first bit in. Ben says, got to go now, Kev. Keep the first bit. Talk later. And I will be on with Ben Emlyn Jones later. Let me quickly show you his website before we go away. And let me thank you all for chilling out, hanging out for the non-announcement. That's another T-shirt I've got from Nancy, from almost said Nancy there, from NASA. It's another T-shirt from NASA that basically says, yep, I came, I saw, and nothing was announced at NASA again. So if I bring this up here, that's Ben's website. One of them, we're going to be talking about a whole host of topics tonight. As he's written to the big man. We'll go over that tonight for sure. If you haven't guessed over the years, I really love Ben. It was great to meet him in Glasgow as well. What you see is what you get. We don't agree on everything. I think if we were to talk politics, we'd probably be at opposite ends of the spectrum. That's what's great about it. Because you don't have to agree on everything. Everyone's got their own opinions, folks, and there's enough dividing everyone right now without silly things playing into that, without us falling for that oldest trick in the book. So from me, the guy that tries to be as honest as he can, and when I take you to Speculation Island, boy oh boy, girl oh girl, man oh man, you get the drift, all 150 different ones, right?
How dare you?
I know.
Excuse me, it's
well,
ma'am.
don't you start as well. But unlike NASA, at least I warn you at the start of a stream when there's nothing to see here. At least I tell you, go and do something else if you've got something more valuable to do with your time. So with that said, I'm just blabbering on now for the sake of blabbering on and Babylon. And on that note, I will catch you all later, because I don't ask you to be there. I bloody well insist. You better be there. It's the #1 abnormal paranormal show in the world. Keep your mind open. Keep looking for the woo, but not to the point where your brain turns to black goo. Oh, we have got a super coming in from our good friend Brian. Brian activates Brian. Are you ready? That's kind of cool. That's kind of synchronistic. I'll go. Thanks for wasting your time here with me, man. There's no other way to put it, right?
Thus was a great show. Glad it's staying as is. Much love, chat. PPP.
PPP, Brian, good luck to you, brother. He is our man that is nearly 110% self-sufficient off the grid. That's where we need to be going. This is KBS. We fixed the problem. We fixed the problem. This is KBS heading for the dark side of the moon.